Hey, welcome to Too Hard, Too Fast podcast, where we try to broaden perspectives, but usually we just go off the rails. In this episode, we have Stephen Martinez, aka Stephen Adam. I'm going to ask you what that's about. Hey, Stephen actually was a theme park performer, which I've actually been super curious about. I mean, obviously, I like going to theme parks, even though the seatbelt and buckles don't always close on me. Um, I'm a fan, and I've always been very curious about them. So,
Hey, I got the same problem with them seatbelts now. So,
well, we're gonna get into all that. We're gonna figure out what you're doing, what you did, and I don't know. Let's just sit back, buckle up, and let's go. Too hard, too fast.
let's
Boom.
do it.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome to Too Hard, Too Fast.
Too hard, too fast.
Too hard, too fast.
Too hard, too fast.
Welcome to Too Hard, Too Fast.
Hey, welcome to Too Hard, Too Fast. I'm Stephen Martinez, a theme park performer, #retired. Thanks for joining the show. Check us out, where the drinks are too hard and too fast.
And look, halfway empty. Whatever you think, Simon Cowell.
The podcast of the century.
Steven, getting to know you first before getting to know what you did. And I say getting to know you because I feel like I kind of know you.
You kind of know me.
Yeah, so
Okay,
apparently
that's
we're
scary.
friends. We're fraternity brothers, but we've never
That's
actually met in real life. I don't think we ever got the time to cross paths, but I've been friends with a lot of obviously I've known our brothers for a while, and the guy that hooked us up together, Berto, he's been on the podcast. He's a good guy. I love talking to him, and he got us together. I was like, I just put it out there. I was like, I want to talk to anybody that knows a theme park performer. And I don't even know if that's the right word. Is that like a right word? What would you call it?
That is the right term to use, especially to Simon Cowell, because Simon Cowell thinks that theme park performers are jack shit. So,
Man. Well,
yeah, it's kind of a slap in the face to us theme park performers.
you guys really sing, right? Like the whole time you're really singing?
Yeah, we do everything live. There for a couple of the main stage shows, the big main stage shows, like if you go to Six Flags Fiesta Texas, out there, the big theater is Lone Star Lils. Since we can't have so many microphones live for 20 to, I think the maximum people we had on stage was 22 performers. Not everybody could be on a headset. So for those, we will pre-record all of our vocals and then like all of our backups, and then whoever's singing lead, usually there are about 12 to 13 performers. Those 12 to 13 as leads will be mic'd, but everything else is usually live.
Oh, so some of you are singing live, and the other ones are pulling an Ashley Simpson.
Pretty much. The only difference is we can actually dance.
Woo! Fire! Fire
Yeah,
shot.
and
Was
actually,
it?
it works out. It works out to our benefit, mainly because when you're on stage and you're going at 100%, or as your podcast, too hard, too fast.
Too fast.
That's usually the way the dances normally go. So you're giving 110%, and this way, if you pre-record your vocals, all you have to do is just lip sync along with it. So you're getting more of 100% performance, and you don't have to worry about giving a cheap ass vocal performance because you already sang your ass off on a microphone.
Well, I want to go back to that in a little bit because I feel like, there's a lot to unravel there. But so going back to like kind of knowing you, are you originally from San Antonio?
I am from San Antonio, born and raised, and I ended up being relocated to the Houston area because of COVID. So I'm actually in the Richmond-Rosenberg area now.
Oh, is that a fancy area?
No.
I don't know much about. All I know
No.
about Houston is that I'm not a big fan of Houston. So
Neither am I. I sincerely apologize to those that are diehard Houston fans. I am not. I literally go to work and come home, and that's it. Just because the drivers out here are terrible. The weather out here is terrible. The only thing I like about it is I got a really nice apartment. That's really the only thing I like. That's it.
Nice. So, I'm gonna do the San Antonio thing. What
Right?
high school did you attend?
I went to Holy Cross High School. I was out there for all 4 years. Yeah, I'm a Holy Cross Knight.
Okay, we definitely have some too hard, too fast stories from there.
Really? Okay.
There's plenty. Yeah, I mean, at least I've heard too many too hard, too fast stories.
No, I
Um,
was I was one of the lucky few that were part of the not so crazy stories. I Because of how I grew up, I was never really I didn't really partake into any of the sports or anything because I'm as a theme park performer. I Around the time that I was in high school, my brothers were already working at Six Flags. So I wanted to be on stage with them. So I was at the park on the weekends. I was learning their track in case I could possibly go in. So I didn't really my high school career was really more extracurricular than it was curricular.
um, we're gonna jump into that. I jumped a little bit ahead of myself. What are you drinking?
Tonight we are drinking. Well, since I figured I'm going to be telling some theme park stories. I figured I'd go back into my theme park world. Every Friday night and Saturday night when we were at Six Flags or working at Six Flags, we used to go out. Some of us would go out to some of the bars. Some of us would just go back to our housing, and a lot of the guys would drink Crown and Coke. So tonight I'm just keeping it simple, and we're doing Crown and Coke. Just going back, taking it back.
Not bad.
19 throw it away.
I haven't had a Crown and Coke in a long time. I am a fan. So I kind of explained, I want to get your take on what you feel about the Crown and Coke. Obviously, it brings back good memories, maybe some faded memories.
Yeah. Well, tonight's Crown and Coke. Let's just say I can't believe I used to like it as much as I did. Because it's not hitting the same parts of the palate that it used to. So if I had to rate this tonight, it would be not great.
Not great. So let's say like a 1.3.
I'd say around there. I'd say 1.3 out there. It has its moments.
Okay, so I brought this. Look, so usually, okay, I brought this beer. And I'll tell you the story behind this. I don't even know how to pronounce it. I think it's Lefe. I said that a little Spanishy, but I think it's supposed to be like Belgian. So Lefe. I don't know. I'll tell you the story about this. But usually when I'm trying something new, I usually bring a little backup drink in case this thing sucks.
Yeah.
And you're doing Crown and Coke. I have a little rum and Coke.
Nice.
Again, I haven't done rum and Coke either in a while, and you're right, it doesn't hit the palate the same way.
Doesn't hit, I mean, I guess it's because I'm not as young as I once was. And even at that, when you think of Crown and Coke, when you're drinking it in your 20s, you're thinking, oh, this is for somebody in their 40s. Well, now I'm in my 40s, and it don't taste like a 40s drink.
Yeah, I don't know what this, maybe, I don't know what it is, but it's not hitting right.
Right. I gotta sip it. I gotta let it sit for a little bit before I toss it back, and afterwards it's like.
You know where I think I messed up is I didn't put any ice in it. So
yeah, I had to put ice because I over poured.
That's the only way to do it. Too hard, too fast. So this thing, I have this hair product that I use. It's called Dove Men's Hair Paste. No, if you're listening, send it my way. No, I'm just kidding. But I can't find it like an H-E-B. I really haven't checked Target. The only place I really find it is Walgreens, but they always have it locked up. And if you know Walgreens, you hit that button for help, nobody ever shows up. So I got tired of that, and I'm like, well, Amazon, let's see if Amazon has it. Of course, Amazon has it. And they do that. They do, if you order so much, you can get the 2-hour delivery for free. So I was like, well, okay, let me get that much. I'm trying to see what I want, and I saw this thing there. I was like, oh, I can get beer delivered? Let me try it out. I've never seen it. So I was like, let's take a gamble, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm gambling right here. It's a blonde, apparently blonde Belgian L.
Uh-huh. Okay, let's see. Blondes.
Oh man,
Okay, obviously blondes do not have more fun.
no, I guess well, you know what? It's a brown bottle. Have you ever had Corona when it's skunked?
No, I have not.
No. Okay, so that's the thing I'm getting. Like they say when it's a light bottle, like it's a glass bottle that just goes see through, that the sun
Uh-huh.
hits it and it's supposed to skunk it. And I've had it and it's bad. I don't know if this is just as old. It's a 6.6 alcohol, which is not bad, but the flavor's weird.
Maybe
I
it's
will give
because
it a
the
1.4 for sure. And that's I'm giving it for the 1 point or 6.6. I'm giving it a little bit of points for that because maybe throughout the podcast it's gonna taste better.
we'll see. It'll kick in later. If not, maybe it'll left the building.
Left it, hey!
I'll
I'm
drink
gonna
to
left
that.
it. Cheers, cheers, cheers. All right, so back to it. In high school, did you like already have a passion for art or theatrics and singing, performing?
Oh, dude, yeah. Let's say, all right. So growing up in my family, I'm the youngest of four. So in my family, we grew up like dancing. You know, my mom or my sister's the one who started everything. She was a flamenco dancer, and when she rolled everything out to going to classes and everything, my mom used to take all of us, like all of us. It's like my brothers had to go to baseball practice, and dance class was on the way. So I'd go and I'd see my sister, and I'd want to do what she was doing. Next thing you know, all four of us are doing it. We're all dancing folklorico and flamenco. Folklorico is that Mexican dancing, and then
Hey,
flamenco is
Mexican.
Spanish. Yeah. So I grew up doing that.
Can
I
I
want to
can
say,
I can I say something a little bit sleazy?
yeah, go ahead.
So when I was a kid, and I would, obviously I grew up around all the folklorico and things, as you can tell.
Hmm.
uh, I I didn't know obviously what the dances meant and things like that. All I knew is that woman is throwing her dress around all over the place, and
Hmm.
here's me doing this. Do I underwear? Do I see underwear? Yes, yes. And then a little bit creepy, but I look around, all the other boys. So, that's a little bit a sleazy on my end, but I don't know better. I still don't. I think I still do the same every now and then. But no, like obviously I grew up with it, and I think it's a beautiful dance. You know,
Yeah, man. And to be honest, when you said, you don't know it, I'm gonna be honest. When all of us, as we're dancing, as we're growing up with it, we don't even know what the hell we're dancing. We just know the title of the song,
and
you
the
know.
steps.
Yeah. So it's like the audience don't know that we don't know. As long as we're out there, we're fine. They're practically drunk half the time anyway. So
Very true. Very true.
yeah.
So you
So
you did some dancing. You did the folklorico. Your whole family started
yeah,
up.
I did all of that. And then my brother, when he got into his 20s, he opened up his own dance company. So me being his brother, I ended up being part of the dance company. I grew up with it to a point where we started doing our own main stage production at the Arneson River Theater downtown.
Is that
He
the one
became
that's open? No, that's La Villita, right? Or
well, it's right outside La Vita. It's the theater that's on the Riverwalk.
oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah,
That's cool.
so I grew up watching my siblings dance on that stage. So towards the end of the 90s, while I was in high school, wow, I just dated myself. Um, I grew up on that stage, dancing with my brother's dance company, and then after a while, I became the director and the choreographer for that show. And it was something. It was like a new taste that I hadn't had before.
You were a
Um,
choreographer. How old were you?
I want to say the first time I did any choreo for my brother, I was about maybe
How old?
16.
16. Wow.
Yeah, but that was for the show. I want to say when I was 13, I was already teaching beginners classes. So I was teaching on my own.
Wow.
The first time I got to teach and teach for the show, I was about 16. And then towards the end, I became the director, where I was, calling the shots, like casting and putting the designing the costumes and collecting the songs, all of that. But all of that was thanks to my background, because when my brothers were when they were, like I said, they were at the Artist and Movie Theater, but they also worked at Six Flags. There used to be a show at Six Flags before it was Six Flags called Festival Folclórico. And my two brothers and my sister were actually in that show in 1993. And I'm dating myself.
So before it was Six Flags, what was it called? Because right now it's Six Flags Fiesta Texas, right?
It was just Fiesta Texas. It was an Opryland park. So Opryland is in Tennessee. So it used to be, I guess it was called Gaylord Productions, out of which was part of Opryland. Well, that's what Fiesta Texas used to be. It just used to be called Fiesta Texas. And then
Did they already have the Looney Tunes?
No.
I wore this just for you.
Nice. Well, let's see. Looking at your shirt, I'm like, okay, I played 1, 2, 3, 4 of those characters on your shirt.
Yeah, should I guess?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's see if you guess.
Let's see, Taz?
Yes, for sure.
Bugs?
No, I was too short.
Oh, okay. Sylvester?
Yes.
That's 2.
Yep.
Daffy?
Daffy's the third one. One more.
I don't think I've ever seen
more.
this guy. I don't think I've ever seen this guy either.
Okay, so those are the last 2. Okay, so it was Porky Pig and Yosemite Sam.
Really?
I didn't see Yosemite Sam on the top. So I played all those characters.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So they didn't have the Looney Tunes. Did they have that theater? The Spanish theater.
Yeah,
already?
Zaragoza. It was, and the way you see it now is not the way it used to be. There did not used to be a center aisle. There did not used to be a stage in front of that stage. There used to be an orchestra pit that was, in there. Like, a lot has changed, but that's later on. I'll get into that later.
Awesome.
So I'm gonna give you all the behind the scenes of everything about Six Flags. I was out there for 13 years.
That's what I want to hear. I want to hear all the nitty gritty.
I'm gonna give you everything. Okay, so maybe this is hitting in a different way.
Yeah, I think what I've learned from doing the podcast is, it starts off bad sometimes, like this. Did not like it. I won't buy it again. Sorry if they're ever listening, but it's getting a little better.
Yeah. Okay, so 1993 was the year that my siblings were at the show. The show Festival Folclórico ended in 1995, and I think Six Flags bought the park in either 97 or 98. I can't remember. But my first year working at Six Flags was in 1999 with Patsy Torres. I don't know if you know who she is.
I don't think I do.
Okay, Patsy Torres she's a really popular Tejano artist. She's been around forever. She used to be part of the circle with Shelly Lares, Esmeralda.
We just had Shelly Lares on here, so if she's still
Shelly,
if she's still following us and she hears me that I don't know, she's probably gonna message me and be like, "Come on, bro, I thought we were cool."
Yeah, no, I love Shelly. She's actually really good friends with my best friend's sister. So I got to work with her for a Christmas production that he did at his church, and I was awestruck. I mean, she's wicked awesome. She's a little powerhouse vocalist. I don't know where she keeps all of that, and that little frame that she has.
Dude, she came on here and she took over the podcast, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna tell her no.
Yeah. Let's see. So I worked with Patsy Torres in 1999 and in 2000. In 2000, I had the opportunity to audition for a main stage show because I forget who it was, but somebody recommended me to go with the audition. So I auditioned, and they said, "Yeah, we want you, but just now's not a good time." So I was like, all right, cool. I ended up getting injured with Patsy. So I ended up leaving the group because we used to tour and everything. And I ended up going to school, which is when I went to Our Lady of the Lake. I went to Our Lady of the Lake from 2001, 2006. In
Oh, I was there in
2005,
'05.
really,
Yeah. We must have come across, I don't know, hazy days.
we had to. Yeah. Okay. So I left in 2006, spring 2006. And the only reason why I left is I was part of the um, theater department, if you will. Like that's what my degree's in or was in. So my advisor at the time was Diane Malone, and I saw that you had Vic Trevino on one of your podcasts, and he was actually one of my professors.
Yeah.
Um,
He was my
I
professor, and he wouldn't admit it on the podcast, but he hated me.
I I admired his teaching style. His teaching style. Did I pass though? We won't say.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I learned a lot from him, and even like, when I used to do a lot of video work,
Mhm.
I used a lot of things that he taught me, and then even here on the podcast, like I try to use a lot of things that he taught me, especially to enunciate, but I don't really do it all the time.
Yeah. So I mean, going to Our Lady of the Lake. I want to say I was in my senior year, and I went in for you have to do your yearly meeting or whatever with your advisor to be all like, where are you going to be? What are you going to do this year with your life? And she asked me, she goes, "Steven, I just want to know, what is it that you really want to do?" And I told her, I said, I want to perform, but I don't want to teach. And from what I'm doing here, it's like this is to make me teach. And I'm not in that stage of life where it's like those that can't do teach. Right now I can do, so I want to do. And she told me she's got up,
I
she closed
became
the
a
book.
teacher, by the way.
Did you? Hey, I wanted to be a teacher. To be honest with you, like that's what I was really going for my degree in. I was going for theater and history for secondary education. That's what I wanted to do. But as I'd been like working, I mean, going to the park with my siblings and like seeing everything that they did, I ended up getting a job at Six Flags in 2005. So I ended up leaving, or not, I ended up going from full time to part time at the end of 2005.
Yeah. And you're
And
right though. Like, I want to say the whole, you know, I it's so weird. Like when I became my first year, when I was a first year teacher, I heard a lot of the whole like, because I think I was one of the first to just instantly right out of graduation, I already had a job. Very lucky.
Mhm.
But and I don't know if it was just that or whatever, but I heard a lot of that. Well, those who can't do teach, so that's why, and so I heard that, and it kind of pissed me off. But then I started thinking, it was like, well, yes, I want to be a teacher now because I feel like this is a stepping stone, and then eventually I'm gonna do like
Mhm.
whatever I'm because I went for special education, so everything I'm doing is somehow like to get later down the road do something for special education or the special education community, but not necessarily just be a teacher forever.
Right, right.
So there's a lot of
And
that going on.
yeah, definitely. And the thing is like I wanted to be a teacher because I was at a point where it's like I felt like this was back in the day when I was still at the lake that I was all like, I'm still young enough. If I'm teaching high school, I'll blend in. These kids,
Yeah,
they'll be the cool teacher and everything, whatever. So that's really what I was really doing. I was really vain about it. Um, but so when it came down to, I had already, I want to say it was the year that I had to start my practicum. So that's when I got I applied for a practicum slash internship at Six Flags because I already had a connection there. So when I applied, they were all like, "Yeah, we want you to be part of the costume department." And then they changed everything at the last minute and said, "No, we want you to be a costume character. So this way you can learn the ins and outs of the entertainment department." I said, "Okay, that's even better. Cool." So my first season out there, I was a costume character, and then the second season, I was a costume character, but I was a swing, so I got to learn all the different characters. And then I was asked to audition for Halloween. to be a main stage performer. So that was in 2006. And this is when I had that meeting with Diane Malone. I think I said 2005, but it was 2006. Maybe 2006. And she said, what exactly do you want to do? And that's when I told her, I said, I'm at a point in my life that, I've been offered this great opportunity. And I think that now is not a time for me to go into teaching. I think I just need to do. And she got up from her desk. She walked around very eerily. I was thinking I was going to get like a slap to the back of the head or something. She got up and she closed the door. She walked back around to her desk and she says, see, I'm going to be honest with you. She goes, by the sounds of everything you're talking about, for what you want to do with your life, you don't need a piece of paper. And her exact words were, the piece of paper you need is a healthy resume, which means that I needed to go. She pushed me to go to Six Flags to develop my resume. And this way, she said, she goes, I see you on Broadway. I see you on a Broadway stage or a main stage. I see you out there. So I normally don't do this with students, but I'm telling you, you don't need this. Walk away. Save your money. To which my response was, why couldn't you tell me this 4 years ago? I've already spent about $100,000.
And I have loans.
Right. So I left. I went to. So I am 24 hours short for my degree. But I mean, I feel like I made a great decision. I ended up doing a lot at Six Flags. I did everything out there. I started out, and I may be jumping the gun according to the your agenda, and I apologize.
No, you're good. And then also, like, I don't like. You kind of almost like try to like cast yourself in a net when you said. I normally don't say this to students, but on this podcast, I've said it 100 times. I don't know how many times I've said it, or the topic has come up. Like, the way the college thing, like I don't know like how I feel about it. Like I'm so 50-50 on it because yes, I feel like yes, it's nice to have that degree to fall back on, but I know a ton of people that didn't go and they're doing great and are happy and they didn't need it. And I don't think it's for everybody. I think people just need to figure out what, like you said, what they want to do and how to do it.
I mean, I'm not gonna to talk shit about my college career because I had a great time at Early the Lake.
Oh, me too. No, you're right. I mean, I wouldn't change my college career, or I wouldn't change the fact that I went to college for anything. Like I'm glad I did, but I just feel like I've seen both sides of the coin,
right?
And I don't want anybody to feel like, oh, you have to, because you don't have to.
Yeah. And what's funny about that is Diane told me, she's like, that I didn't need a piece of paper. The only piece of paper that mattered was my resume. And no joke, it's the truth. Because I was at Six Flags for 13 years. Like I said that, I've already said that a million times. That should be a drinking game for whoever's watching this. Is like I said, I started as a costume character. Then from a costume character became a swing. Then I became a street performer, a main stage performer. After main stage performer, I became a choreographer, an in-house choreographer, director. I became part of production by helping with auditions and casting. The only thing I didn't do was become a full-time. And I actually was kind of offered that on New Year's Eve a couple of years ago, to be part of the entertainment management team. My very good friend is still out at, she's at Six Flags over Texas, and she wanted me to join her team. I don't know exactly what the position was, so I may be jumping the gun, but she wanted me to go work for her. But because I worked out there for so long, I built up my resume. And from being a performer at Six Flags, I got to do Hairspray. I played Wilbur Turnblad in Hairspray the musical. I got to play Kevin Rosario in The Heights, Lin-Manuel Miranda's first musical. I got to
which was great. I mean, I didn't see the musical, but I saw the movie. Does that count?
Movie? It's got a lot of differences. I mean, but it still touches on the main core, which is family and heart and culture, the neighborhood and everything. Yeah. So I mean, it touches on the main concept. But I go back to Diane and I still credit her because of her, I wouldn't be as happy as I am, with the resume that I have. And because of all of that, and because of, all of the training that I got in college that built me up to have such a successful theme park career, now I'm doing what I love, which is I'm an event planner, but I am, and normally when anybody says event planner, they're like, really? But I'm an event planner that works for a management company. So I get paid well, I'm taken care of. But my main job is I'm the number two for my community. So I work directly with the community manager and I plan events all year round. I do events that are large scale, small scale. I'm on the microphone. I practically play a DJ. I'm hosting karaoke nights. So I'm using my entertainment background and all, guess what? From what Diane said was I don't need that piece of paper, that my diploma or whatever, or my degree. I don't need that. I needed my resume. Well, my resume ended up being that catalyst to get me a certification. So to do what I do, because of my resume, I got certified. And I didn't need to, take classes or anything because my resume built up my certification. So I'm very grateful to the relationship that I had with her back then to push me into the field that I was in. Yeah, so I may have taken a huge left turn.
No,
But
this is good. This is good because you kind of gave me everything, how you went through it, and now we can get into the nitty gritty and the behind the scenes of things. Going back to performing, how did you know, or when did you find out that you can sing?
um, okay, so my second year at Six Flags as a costume character, one of the main stage performers, his name was Darren. He used to tell me all the time, he goes, have you tried singing? Have you tried singing? I was like, no, I've just been a dancer my entire life. He goes, you can't just be a dancer. Like you've got, the personality to do so much more. And I said, well, I can act. I did some acting when I was in college. And he's all like, well, if you can act and you can dance, you should try singing. I said, okay. So he offered to give me voice lessons. So I took a couple of lessons with him. And then I thought, well, I'm okay. I'm pretty good. So I may as well take a voice lesson or two at the lake where I didn't have to pay for anything because it was part of tuition. So Jerry Soto, he's one of our brothers. I'm sure you know him.
He's been on here.
Yeah, he had a voice teacher called, her name was Ruth Moreland, best voice teacher I ever had. I took 2 semesters with her of voice, and she's the one that told me that I need to pursue more vocal than anything else. She goes, you've got dancing already done. I've seen you on stage as within acting. I would maybe like take a step back from acting and concentrate more on voice. So I did that. And then I auditioned at Six Flags after working with Ruth and Darren, and I ended up being cast as a main stage performer in 2006 for Halloween.
Nice.
So
nice.
It's because one performer took a chance on me and just said, hey, let's just see what you can do. That's what ended up happening.
That's interesting and funny because I've joked around this podcast with everybody that like comes on that is a singer, and I always ask the same thing. The same question I just asked you is like, when did you find out you can sing? Because I can remember when I found out I couldn't sing. And I've never like bothered to tell the story. Like it's always just the joke and then, the laugh and then we move on. But since you mentioned, the voice lessons, I took a voice lesson with, and I don't remember the guy's name, but, he tried and he told me, what do you want to do this? Why are you taking the classes? Is it just for the easy A? Because if you just want the easy A, then you don't have to even show up. And I was like, oh, that's I can't sing. Yeah, okay, I get it. And then he goes, but if you're really trying to learn something, trying to do it, then I'll be here for you. And we'll keep working at it. You have a really good way of, I think, matching tone or matching harmony. I don't know which one he told me. I think it was tone, but I don't have it to where like I can like just sing it out or whatever. and I asked me, what do you want to sing? I was like, I kind of want to be a country singer, I want to try it,
Nice.
right? And he goes, well, let's try certain things, and we tried certain country songs. Anyway, that whole conversation is when I realized I didn't know how to sing, or I couldn't sing, and all my friends in the dorm room that say, "Hey, sing along to this," and they were lying. So let's get into the nitty gritties. The Six Flags. You won't get in trouble if we're talking about Six Flags Fiesta Texas.
Listen, first off, you're talking to the guy that used to always be in trouble while I was there. Like the entertainment manager, like he was so cool. I worked under two different entertainment managers. The first entertainment manager that I worked under, his name was David Blazer, and he was great. He was a great manager, a great entertainment manager. He pushed us all to be like our best. And then following him, he retired in 2006 when I actually when I became a main stage performer. So I worked under the new entertainment manager, whose name is Ben McTire. And he was all about building relationships and making sure that everybody had a great offstage rapport, then and onstage rapport, or that everybody maintained professionalism, all that good stuff. That didn't last very long. Because we used to dick around on stage, we used to dick around backstage. Everybody was constantly like giving each other crap, and I unfortunately became the target, not necessarily the target, but back in the day, I used to be a really bad gossip queen. Like if I would hear something, I would be like, oh shit, hey, you got to hear, did you know about this? Da, 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 da. So I would go and I'd spill the tea, if you will. So I would get called into the office all the time. And our entertainment manager had this very distinct voice. And he talked like this. He'd be like, Stephen, I don't need you running your mouth. And I'm like, I'm sorry. And all I kept saying over and over, I'm sorry, this, that, whatever. So I'll give you one example where I went too hard, too fast, with my mouth.
Whoa! That's a different thing sometimes. Hey, you know what?
That's
this is how good it's getting. I'm already going on the second one.
All right. That's a whole other podcast anyway. So, 2010 production that happened. 2011. I got asked to be a lifestyle director. I got asked to leave. I got injured in 2011, so I couldn't necessarily perform at 100%. So I was just like, I'm gonna look for a different job, whatever. So she had already left, and she worked at the place where I was going to apply. So I ended up applying. I got the job, and I wanted to finish out my season as a performer for Halloween. And when I went to tell him what my schedule was going to be at the other place, if I could go ahead and just do some part-time stuff, whatever, he was just like, no, we're good. We're good. And he's like, you can just go ahead and consider today your last day. And I was all like, all right, fuck. All right, cool. So, I mean, he was nice about it. I got paid for the following 2 weeks, but I mean, it was neither here nor there. So needless to say, he thought he got rid of the gossip by getting rid of me. Turns out I wasn't the problem. And he learned that in 2012, 2013, because when I came back, he invited me to come back in Halloween 2013. And he asked if I'd changed. I said, I was never the problem. So I came back a different person. Now being on the director side, I knew what it was like to know the secrets and have to keep the secrets.
Yeah.
So I told him, I said, I apologize. I was young. I was stupid. I've learned my lesson. That's not going to happen again. So lo and behold, 2013, I'm choreographing the main stage shows for Halloween. And main stage shows for Halloween 2012, sorry. And then in 2013, I was brought on to be the in-house choreographer. I choreographed the new Rockville show and the Looney Tunes show, and they brought in a choreographer to teach the country show. Country show, she didn't do a really good job, so I had to reteach that country show in a different way. and I had to do it in 2 weeks. Normally shows are put together in, like, you have 6 weeks of rehearsal. I had to do it in 2 weeks and in between their shows. So that show's already open. So they're doing the shitty show and they have to learn the new show in between shows.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so those poor performers didn't get breaks. And then in 2015, I was all like, am I going to choreograph again? Am I not? Whatever. Well, they decided they didn't need me. So I'm like, all right, cool, fuck it. I'm going back to my other job. I make more money there anyway, whatever.
Was it always like this? Was it all this like jumping around and moving around, just your experience, or a lot of people experience the same thing? Like
a lot of us experienced it, because the demographic, not the demographic, the feel of the entertainment department back then was like, we want everybody to be on the same level. We want everybody to be professional. We want everybody to this. But there was none of that. They can say, they preach it, that we were all about this, we're all about that, da, 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 da. But that's not what the case was.
And a lot of you, if not most of you, are young.
Yeah.
Right?
And nobody cared. And, going back to 2014, when I went in to be a peon, having to relearn my own shit, like, I was like, now I see where previous performers were when they were, because I mean, when you're at Six Flags, after maybe your 5th or 6th season, you're just there to collect a check, so you're going to be as consistent as possible, not because you want to be professional, but because you don't care anymore.
You want to get paid.
Yeah, you're just there to get paid. You're just there for the paycheck.
What do a lot of the people there, like, do they have expectations that this is gonna like springboard them into some kind of other, like, maybe performance job or singing job, like some kind of career?
There is a small lucky few. It's a small lucky few, and sometimes they're the really, really good ones, like that. You're great backstage, on stage, awesome vocalist, whatever. And then sometimes they're the really shitty ones that are terrible off stage, and they're mediocre on stage, but they just have to build. It's all about the resume. And some of my great friends are currently performers on Broadway, on cruise ships. They're in touring productions on Broadway tours, and they're all relationships that I've made and I've found at Six Flags. So they're part of that small circle, but I mean,
yeah, and see, that's what the curiosity comes in, because obviously, I've been going to Six Flags forever, and I've been seeing the performances, and with having that one-time dream of I could be a country singer, and then seeing these people perform, and they're like, I think for the most part they're good. Are they lip syncing? Maybe, I don't know. Some of them really, like, you can sort of tell, and then you can not tell. And I'm not a professional to be able to tell, but so I'm always like, well, my curiosity was, how did they get there?
Mhm.
And obviously, everybody has their own story.
Mhm.
What do they want to get from it, or is this like where they want it to be? And then obviously, also, it's at the end of the day, it's a job, and it's not an easy one. I mean, you're always doing something obviously athletic. You're
Mhm.
dancing and singing. If you're the ones actually singing and dancing, that's a lot of hard work, and to be able to do it, shit, in the summer, almost every 7 days.
When you're a theme park performer, you are pretty much signing your life away for maybe 9 months out of the year, because you're dedicated, because you're giving up your holidays, because you're performing on holidays. You're performing on 4th of July, Father's Day, Mother's Day. You're up to Christmas Eve, Halloween, all of the fun holidays. You're missing out on them, but at the same time, it's training you, because if you want to go on to be a cruise line performer, you're doing the same thing. If you want to be a main stage Broadway show performer, you're doing the same thing. You're working on holidays. You're working. You're missing time with your family. So it is a good transition to get you from point A to point B. And to answer your question about, what it takes to get there, it takes drive, because I'm not going to dog, Six Flags performers, that was just my experience. And most people say that I'm bitter, party of one, bitter. But it's just my story, and I just have to share my story every now and again. And yes, it may have a negative, part in the center, but it's something that I learned from and I grew from. But to answer your question about how it happens, you have to go in with a great mentality to audition. The audition process at Six Flags is one of the most unique experiences that I ever went through. Like, you go in, and I can compare that to other auditions that I went to as well. But with Six Flags, it's more personal, because you go in and you're literally putting your heart on, the table for 5 people at a panel, and you only get to sing a verse and a chorus of 3 different songs if they let you. So if you sing your first song and they're like, "Oh, I want to hear more," then you sing your second genre. If they like it, then they'll see your third. But after all of that, then you go on to a callback, which is a dance rehearsal or a dance. So this way they can see if you can move and how well you interact with other people in a high intensity learning environment. And they're really taking into account, the relationships that you make with other people. Are you following somebody, or are you going to go ahead and pull somebody aside and be like, "Hey, teach me those last 8 counts because I don't get it." They're also taking into account, the kinds of questions you ask, the choreographer, because you are really learning about eight counts in about 15 minutes. And then you have 30 minutes to go and practice it, come back and perform it. And then if you do well from that, a small group is selected from there, and they're given music to learn that day. And you'll learn that music, and then you'll perform that music. And if they like you, you'll hear from them within a week or 2. If they don't, they're going to deliberate for a little bit, and then they're going to let you know whether or not you made it or didn't. For 4 years, I went through that process, and I was rejected 4 years. And every one of those years, I learned something new about myself. So on my 5th year, when I went into auditions, I made it. So you just have to have the drive, and you have to take every experience and learn from it. Ask questions, notes, and figure out, okay, well, I know why he made it, because he was actually talking to the choreographer and learned that section, or it's like, okay, when I got my music, I hiccuped on this part, but why did I hiccup on it? Oh, it's because I didn't rest when I was supposed to, so you just have to take into those accounts, and it's just all about drive and learning from experience. And going on from that, you can tell if somebody's going to be, or if somebody's going to have a great tenure at Six Flags off of their first season. As somebody who was there for so long, I've learned it. They're going in and they're trying to soak in as much as possible to make themselves a better performer, to sing better, to dance better, to have great interaction with, we call them groupies back then. Now they don't call them groupies, they're fans. Creating those kinds of relationships, like, that's something that you can tell, okay, they have what it takes to go on and have a great career. They go in and they learn as much as possible, and you can tell that they're going to do well, and they go on and they make something better of themselves just from starting out at Six Flags. It's a great launching pad, because they go in, they learn the business, they learn about themselves, they learn what it takes to be in production, and they go and they succeed.
So earlier you said housing, and obviously you were from San Antonio at the time, but I'm sure a lot of people come from all over the place. Do they put you up in a place, or you guys have to find your own place?
Okay, so if you're in San Antonio, you don't get housing. However, there was a loophole for me. The Six Flags motto is, if you live outside of 100 miles, you get housing. So I moved to Austin in 2000, a long time ago. And I can't remember. And myself and my best friend out there, we ended up getting an apartment, and we were both pissed. We're like, we're never going back to that park. We had a bad experience, this, not whatever. And because I still say this to this day, because I wanted to be accepted by, because I know I burned him so bad, I wanted his acceptance. He called me, and I dropped everything. Oh, you want me to be Mr. Peabody in Rockville? Yeah, I'll be there, but I need housing because I moved to Austin. Okay, cool. And he made it happen. And I felt like I was back in the circle. You know, I told my buddy Billy, I was like, hey, dude, sorry, man. I'm moving back to San Antonio. I'll be Peabody in Rockville. And he's all like, fuck you, dude. So yeah, like that's how I ended up getting it because I had a bad experience at Six Flags and I was like, I'm never coming back. Oh, you want me to play rock? You want me to be in Rockville? I'll be there. You just give me an apartment, whatever. And the housing at Six Flags, oh man, those were some of my best experiences of my life, dude. Oh man, I was in housing for 2 years, 3 maybe 4 actually. Yeah,
And it's apartments.
yeah, they're apartments. And okay, so the housing is around UTSA,
Ooh,
so it's kind of
nice
like
ones.
college. Yeah, there is kind of around like college, built like the college dorms. So you go in, you have the upstairs, and then there's 4 like rooms off of that, and then everybody shares a bathroom. There's 2 bathrooms, 2 sinks, whatever. But there's 4 rooms, and that's the way it was, you know. And I had within my time there, I think I had two roommates my first year, and then my second year I had a full house. We were 3 roommates. But it was like a revolving door. I constantly had somebody new. But yeah, that's what housing was like. And depending on what our days off were, because Rockville are dark days are when there's no shows in the theater to give the performers 2 days off. So our dark days in Rockville were Mondays and Tuesdays. So Sunday nights, man, the freaking pool was hopping. Everybody from the Rockville Theater, ushers, stage managers, performers, their girlfriends, their boyfriends, costume characters would come over. We'd freaking take coolers of like whatever we were drinking, and we would be out there. There were a couple of pool fights that should have happened with other college students. People were throwing rocks. Somebody threw a chancla one time. It came back like a boomerang. I mean, those were some good times. So Sunday nights we'd be all at the pool, and then everybody would be all hungover, and then we're like, we're going to the freaking river. We're all gonna float. All right, cool. So we all pack it into the car, and then we'd be all sunburnt on Tuesday, and then we have to go back and do shows on Wednesday, and like, oh fuck, well, how are we gonna get through this? Our costumes can't touch our skin because it's so freaking, it hurts so much. And then I got
extra makeup on the faces and cheeks.
yeah, you got to put like, I mean, luckily back then the guys didn't have to wear makeup. Now they do, because all these freaking LED lights, they freaking like you can see every pore in everybody's face. But going back to those days where we would go to the river and we get sunburned, I mean, I'd have to put my partner on my shoulder. And, oh man, there were days where I'd have to put aloe vera on top of aloe vera because that shit would fucking hurt. Those seams, I would take my shirt off and I'd be bleeding because the seams of my tuxedo shirt were digging into sunburn. But like I said, man, those were some of the best days of my life. I mean, I was drunk as shit, hungover the next day, and I didn't care. I was getting a great paycheck.
Right, so not going into numbers, and I'm sure it's different now, but let's talk a little bit of pay. Was it obviously housing was free?
Housing was taken care of, but you had whatever you would use electricity or water wise was taken out of your check.
Oh, okay, and then obviously groceries on your own.
Yeah, groceries you were on your own. But if you were smart about it, you would get somebody to sponsor you, one of the fans or the groupies, and they would give you like an HEB gift card like every week, and you could go grocery shopping. And I mean, not to say I would do that. I wasn't one of those fortunate ones, but we did have one of my roommates. They were constantly giving him HEB gift cards, and he was always out there getting stuff, and he would get stuff for all of us.
Was there room for negotiation on pay, or it was just
yeah,
like, no,
dude.
this is what it is, and that's it?
See, that's how you knew which performers were going to be a-holes, because they were all like, oh, so I found out that you're making this much. Well, I've been here longer. I deserve that. So then they would go to the office. They'd be like, well, how come I'm not getting max cap, or I'm not getting this much? I didn't get a raise last year or a raise the year before. And it's like, nobody understood the fact that, raises were built on your performance level and your review. And if you have a really shitty review and you're really crappy on stage, like you go on stage, you may have an amazing vocal, amazing voice, but if you're going on stage, you're just going through the motions, like you're not gonna get paid for that. You're gonna get paid for
Right.
the work that you do. And
Exactly.
a lot of people at Six Flags while I was there, they were they would get paid what they deserved because they were brilliant performers. I shared the stage with some great performers, and I feel from I none of us really talked shit about our pay, all day long.
Did they ever like trade you guys? Like, let's say I'm gonna send you to Six Flags over Texas or
Some of
any
us
other
did.
Six Flags.
Some of us did. And okay, so I'm not a sports guy, so feel free to laugh. This is where you can laugh and you can use this part of the promotion if you want, because I'm not a sports guy. But okay, so I compare it to the draft. From what I know of the draft, it's like certain managers will call and be like, "Hey, so I need a good girl singer dancer. Who do you have?" Oh, okay, you have them. Okay, and then be like, "Well, I need a good dancer." They'd be like, "All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna send you this person." So then it'd be like a trade, and then when you trade, you're getting this park is getting a badass singer, and then we end up getting somebody who had just come off the freaking sick bench. They can barely lift their knee up to their waist. But I mean, yeah, I don't, like I said, I don't necessarily know shit about football or anything, but that's how I consider it.
That makes a little bit of sense. Yeah, football teams get a shit end of the deal, and they try to. I don't know. It made
Performers would
sense
get
to me.
pissed off. They would get pissed off. They would come in. Oh, especially when you would get a venue change. That would suck. Because at the end of the season, like you would have, I mean, you develop your own little family. Like I was in Rockville for 6 years. So I had my same station for changing. I had my same quick change station. I had the same spot where I would put my microphone. You run into your routine. And then same thing with Sundance, which was the country theater. It was the same. There were 6 performers. I think sometimes they've been 7 performers, and then the band. And then like there was one season that they were like, we're gonna flip things up and change a whole bunch of shit. So they moved 2 country girls to Rockville and moved one. I mean, they swapped 2 country girls from Rockville and country. They swapped the 2 male leads in Rockville and put one in country and one in Sangerfest, which was the food court. So people were pissed off. They were like, what the fuck, man? Like you're changing things. Like now we actually, because rehearsals used to be awesome at that point. We literally go in and be like, okay, who remembers this? Okay, we're gonna play the music and here we go. But then it's like, oh shit, now we gotta teach this to this person. We gotta teach this to this person. So there was a lot of sitting
Do you think
around
they
it.
did it to keep things fresh, or
That's exactly what they said. Like we were trying to keep things fresh, and that was one of the years that I started seeing things from on the other side of the table, and I'd be like, I see it, I get it, like, yeah, we're flat, like we're just plateaued right now. We need somebody to come in and change things up. Yeah, this person has played the same character for 4 years. We need somebody new to do it. Maybe we need a country twang. But that's what it did, and it changed things up. And what ended up helping was that was the year that we all ended up going to the Saragossa Theater to do like a big main stage summer show where we would do it twice a day. So even though we had 2 new casts, we would go back and be all together again. We'd be like, okay, it's like, oh, let me tell you what happened over here, and like this dude's fucking up your track or something like that. But that would happen. You would have the trade that happened from one park to the next, or you would have parks that they would lip sync. They wouldn't be live singers. So they would ask our park to record vocals, and then they would be lip syncing to our vocals. That,
oh dang,
that happens. My friend Priscilla would do that all the time. She would go in and she would do the vocal track for, I think it was a park in Georgia or somewhere out there. But the thing is like when you become a theme park performer, you end up signing this form that says that it's okay for them to use your likeness, your whatever, all of that. Man, this crown really hit because I can't really talk anymore.
all good.
Yeah, so like they use all of that because you have to sign a waiver. There it is. You have to sign a waiver to let them use your likeness for commercials, for audio, for pictures and everything. And I mean, there's still, if you go to Six Flags today, there's a slot machine that's in the food court that I'm on like this. And people used to tell me all the time, they're all like, you look familiar, you look familiar. I'm like, you just come in from the San Antonio airport. They'd be like, yep. I said, you recognize this face? and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, you were at the turnstile. You were at the where I got my luggage." Yeah, because that was me.
Dang,
They
that's
they
awesome.
would use our pictures. They would use our voices. They would use all that, and they would lip sync. Some other theme parks would not steal, but they would pay for other theme parks to record tracks for them.
Wow. Well, listen, I don't want to lose my season pass over this conversation. But
That won't happen. They don't.
nah,
They don't do that kind of
I
research.
know, right? As long as they get their money, they're good. Um, One thing I forgot to mention at the very beginning is the other reason I feel like I kind of known you before. I actually was working at Six Flags, I believe 2006, summer of 2006. So I don't know if you were already there or not.
I was there.
Okay. So I don't remember who it was. It was probably Berto that told me that you worked there and you were a performer. Obviously, we never interacted. I have no idea where any of the performers ever hung out at or where they practiced. I never saw any. I never interacted. I was a stroller rental guy and
Okay.
wheelchair rental and all that. Like I was the I started as a normal guy and I became like the lead or whatever they called it there.
Mhm.
And
You went from a blue tag to an orange tag.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so it was pretty cool. I had fun, obviously. Um, I was there all the time, but I think and I remember there was a picture I took, and it was on Halloween or Fright Fest, what they call now. And I took the picture, and somebody pointed out that's Steve. And so I probably, if I go years and years back on my Facebook, it's probably still up there, and you're probably still there. Your likeness is still there.
Yeah,
Uh,
man. I mean,
so that's pretty awesome, man.
2006. That was my first. That was actually my first year in Halloween. So, depending on the venue you were at, I was in the streets of Rockville. I was a deadie, what we were called. So, I used to play. I forget what my character was, but we used to be like the greasers.
Uh huh.
Our face painted all white, and my hair was very much similar to this. The only difference is not in a ponytail in the back. And then I did a show in the Sundance Theater where I played a dead cowboy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This was. I don't. I feel like this was the year where they had like a lot of pyrotechnics and going on for Halloween.
Okay,
Yeah,
so that was Monster Mash Bash in Lone Star Mills, and I can tell you if you that
that
was
was the
2000,
big stage outside where it looked like an amphitheater, right?
yeah, that
All
was
right, all right.
so 2006. My makeup was a spider web. I had a spider web on my face. So I used to do the spider paint all the way, and then it was red, orange, yellow, and then red up on the top. So from far away, I looked like a target, but up close, it was a spider web.
If I find the picture, because I know somebody pointed out, I was like, "That's Steve." If I find the picture, I'm gonna pop it up on this episode because it's
Yeah,
hilarious. Or I mean, like the connection, because I know, like I said, we didn't. I don't think we officially ever met, but we've we've been around. Our lives kind of crossed each other without physically crossing each other.
mhm.
Um, I think we've gone over a good while,
Oh
and
yeah.
you
Feel
know,
free to edit out as much you want.
no,
I
no, no.
think I
Like I was saying, like
rambled
I
about.
really enjoyed the conversation.
I was like, I feel like I
What I
rambled
would
a couple of
love
times because I already finished my drink.
for sure. I finished one, half on the other, and this is going halfway down. This is a lot better, I'll tell you that. But I want to re-invite you already to come back, because I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
would love to come
this
back.
conversation can carry on to a lot. We can have a whole other different conversation on what you're doing now and what that feels like now. So I would love to
Yeah,
have you back, man.
yeah, I'd love to come back. It was super fun. I'm really, really glad that I did this.
Perfect, man.
This
I'm
was
glad you
too
had
hard, too
fun.
fast. This was too hard, too fast, too soon.
It was too hard, too fast. Not soon enough. We should have had this a long time ago.
Yeah.
Speaking of too hard, too fast, I want to ask you the famous last question. Do you, Stephen, actually, hold on. Why is it Stephen Adam on your social media?
Okay. So this is a story from when I moved over here. I gotta take my glasses off for this. Okay.
Oh,
So, when I moved over here, because of COVID, the line of work that I do in San Antonio, I worked for a multi-gen community, which was people that were around my age, whatever, and younger. Well, when I moved over here, now I'm working with an active adult community. They were not happy of the fact that now they have to pay for an employee to come in when their building is shut down for COVID. So it's like, why are they paying for an activities director to come on and there's no activities? Little do they know that in the world of lifestyle, like I work the website, I work their live streams, I work their marketing, the communications, just activities just has to be a little small little part, whatever. So one resident decided to look me up. They Facebook stalked me, if you
yeah,
will.
of course.
My social media, this is actually my second page, like my original page I had to disable. Because they went in and they ripped the new one, man. They were pissed off that they had to pay for me to come over here. So my Facebook page is linked to my Instagram and linked to my LinkedIn. So one resident went in there, pulled my LinkedIn account, and posted my resume for everybody to see. And on my resume is my personal phone number, my email, my current home address, everything. So because of that, I had to change everything. And so that way nobody could find me. That's why on social media I'm Adam.
Adam Steve. Okay, so when I message you on Messenger, it labels it as Steve Adam or Steven
Yeah.
Adam. But your profile is Adam Steve. That's
Mhm.
right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So that's just because back then my residents weren't happy the fact that I came on board, but now they love me. I mean, it takes a minute for you to get used to me and to see what I'm all about and see what I can do because I'm told I'm a little bit of a lot, so I'm a little much. So
Hey,
they
you
took a
wouldn't be
minute
a performer if you weren't, right?
right? I mean, I've got pictures back here of when I was on stage at Rockville. A picture of me and the park president my last year. One of the coolest things that ever happened to me at Six Flags because I
The
became
president of all Six Flags or the president of Fiesta Texas?
the president of Six Flags Fiesta Texas.
Okay, okay.
Uh,
Either way, that's badass.
yeah. So I became the service superstar. Okay, service superstar as you worked at Six Flags. It's like employee of the month for your department, whatever. So I was every year that I worked at Six Flags, I always wanted to be a service superstar. I wanted to be service superstar so bad because I wanted the gold name tag. Well, I never got it. On my last year, my last season, I got service superstar. So that is my pride and joy. And I have my gold name tag and my entertainment cap framed in my bedroom.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's like my one fun story. My major
One
fun
of
story.
many.
Yeah, yeah.
All
Aside
right,
from
so
the fact
now
that I
it's
did a
time
lot
for
of
the
bitching.
for the too hard too fast story. Uh, Stephen, can you tell us or share with us a too hard too fast story? Maybe a time that you got way too drunk. Maybe a cautionary tale, words of advice, whatever you feel like sharing with us tonight.
All right, I tell you of a time that I went too hard, too fast in a show. Um, we used to do this one show at Six Flags called Ovation, and it was this like a series of songs and dances from Broadway shows and whatnot. And it was my second season doing it, whatever. So one of the sections was an '80s section from Rock of Ages, and it was this really cool like dance break and everything. And we had to wear this hair, '80s hair, whatever. So I'm dancing my ass off. I'm like, oh, I fucking look great. I'm a rock star. I look awesome. I'm super skinny at this point. So I'm like, and I had a cool costume on. So then I'm like going at it hard, like harder than I'd ever gone dance wise. And I wasn't mic'd, so I could just lip sync, whatever. So I'm going at it, whatever. And then we get to the last 8 count, and I have to make my way to my ending pose. And as I get there, I'm realizing, oh shit, I never moved the platform. I got to go move the platform. So I'm moving the platform up, and then I hit my final pose, and I sprained my ankle.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I ended up finishing the show on my sprained ankle because I was in boots, you know, so you really, if I'm dancing in clunky shoes or whatever.
Yeah, and it hasn't swelled yet, so
Yeah, so I'm still dancing on it. I'm dancing. It was my left one. Um, so
how long were you still like? How much show was still left?
oh, it was like it was just bows at this point. So I get up. I mean, my final pose was like I had to lean on my left leg, and I had to put my hand out, whatever, and I had to put like this whole thing up, just like straight up. So and all my weight is on my now sprained ankle. So the outro is playing. We have to line up and bow, and then some of us push the platform back. So I push the platform back, and I'm telling the guys just to go around me. And I just stand behind the platform as the curtain comes down, and I freaking lose it. I start crying, like I don't know what the hell's going on. And then the guy that was behind me, his name was Garrett. He's all like, "Are you okay?" Like, I mean, I heard a snap, and I was like, "What?" So our stage manager freaked out because when she heard a snap, or she heard that Garrett said a snap, and I'm pointing at my ankle, she thought that I tore my Achilles. And to get my boot off was going to be a pain in the ass. So they had to call EMS, dude. They had to call EMS to come and take me off the stage. At the end of the show, there's people in the house, whatever. It was the most embarrassing thing in my life.
Did they come in straight through the front, or like was there like?
No, they had to come from the back. They had to come from the back of the house. I mean, from the back of the theater. But if you remember Six Flags, the medical services area has to drive underneath where the main crossway is, so everybody can hear the sirens. Everybody can, know something happens. And then the back of Zaragoza is like a pit, so like the lights are flashing, and everybody can see something's going on there. And not only are they there to pick me up, but I can't change. So I have to leave the theater in my full 80s garb. And like, I passed out because of the pain. So I'm like, oh, whatever. And then they're all like, we got to get an IV in him and this and that, whatever. And they're trying to do it on the stage. The performers are still up in front of the curtain, waving at people, trying to get people out of the house, whatever. And EMS is in there, like trying to take care of me. And then one of our managers, his name is Chase, he said, screw this. So he picked me up and he like carried me out to EMS. And I don't remember anything after that because I blacked out of the pain, because I was wearing motorcycle boots, those big steel-toed ones. How I danced in them, I don't know to this day. I think that's the reason why my arches are collapsing now. But yeah, it's a time that I went too hard, too fast in a show and injured myself so much that I ended up having to be out. And that was one of the years that in the other show that I was in, that I was mic'd. So nobody else could play my track because I was the only one cast to play my track. So they had to reblock me in for 6 weeks so I could recover. I had to go through rehab and everything.
What does that mean, reblock you in?
Reblocking is when, so when the choreography is set for a show and something happens and anything needs to be modified, that's called reblocking. So this way the show doesn't change, but anything that happens on stage, lighting wise or traffic wise, nobody collides with each other or anything like that. So it's just called reblocking. So this way you know where to go and what to do, all that good stuff. So for 6 weeks I was reblocked. The worst part about it is my first week back in the show. I was so excited to be back in. Again, I went too hard, too fast, and I sprained my knee. So I couldn't finish the season. So that's my too hard, too fast story.
Too hard, too fast. I appreciate that story, man. That's a painful one. I think that's the first really painful one. Like, we've had some tough ones, but that's true pain.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, the best thing about it is, and I will say this, that the entertainment department learned so much about me because, again, I was a problem child for my department because I was either always in trouble or I was always in health services. Something happened. I was accident prone. I would fall off of props. I would sometimes the air brakes would go out in cars and I would fall through it. That something happened. I fell through a car. There was a time where I fell off the stage. Yeah, because I wouldn't back then I wouldn't wear my glasses. So that one of the guys at the show he made a bit out of, tapping the edge of the stage. This was after I fell. I fell off the stage because I missed the number. Because at the edge of the stage, there's numbers at the edge that would say center 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's in bright white letters on a black stage. Well, when you take these off, those are just like little orbs of light.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was running down the stairs and I just went too fast and busted my ass. Fell off the.
Too hard, too fast, baby.
Yep.
I love it. All right, so we've gone too hard, too fast. Stephen, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you sharing your stories as a theme park performer.
Thanks, man.
We still don't understand why what's his name says theme park performers are looks down on them. What's his? I don't even the mean
Simon
guy.
Cowell?
Simon
Okay.
Cowell.
This is just my own general thought. I have the feeling Simon Cowell does not appreciate theme park performers because he thinks that theme park performers are just there for the job. And what it really comes down to is, yes, some theme park performers may be there for the job, but there are really some really talented people. And a part of me thinks that the reason why he thinks that is because he was probably one of those that auditioned to be a theme park performer and got cut.
I can see that. And you know what? There's like people, hardcore music performers, that are in mainstream media right now that are just there for the check as well.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I mean, yeah, but the thing is like, I can't necessarily dog those that are, anybody in any profession that are there for the check because, they did their time, they paid their dues, and now they're just doing it because, and it's not just because they're there for the check, they could be there because they're a fan favorite, Like I'll use Ellen Pompeo from Grey's Anatomy. She wants the show to end forever, but her audience doesn't want her to go.
Yeah.
So that's, you got to look at things from different perspectives. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like I learned a lot being out at Six Flags, leaving and then coming back, because I got to see things in a different light and appreciate decisions and why they were made. So yes, I may have been bitter in the past, but I'm not bitter now. It's just my story and I have no shame, sharing it, because in the end, the park wasn't a jackass, I was.
Well, I appreciate it, like I said, and I'm glad that we're connected, man.
Likewise.
So I would love to have you back, like I said, and I think
Anytime
there's
you want me
plenty of
back,
stories, plenty
Anytime.
of stories to tell. So
Yeah.
with that said, social media, do you share that out?
Yeah, sure. You want to follow me on social media? I'm Adam Stephen on Facebook, and then it's ITZ_me, MI_ Steve on Instagram.
Perfect. And I'll put it here. I'll put it in the description. Check them out. Connect with them. And you know what? Hit the like button. I don't say this very much, but hit the like button and hit the subscribe because too hard, too fast. We need to go too hard, too fast, straight to the top.
Yes, do it. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. We can go too hard, too fast and fizzle out, but we're just going to make it to the top. But no, hey, remember, Jerry be you, Jerry be weird. Bye.
Bye.
Hasta luego.